Yesterday, Sunday, a member of An Garda Síochána was killed on the roads. A motorbike was passing through a speed checkpoint and hit a Garda who sadly has died. The biker is also in hospital in a serious condition. Other guards were hit over the weekend. Someone else had their leg broken by a motorbike. And this seems to be a regular occurrence on Ireland's roads that police checks for speeders or vehicle checkpoints manned by members of An Garda Síochána, more and more people are getting injured, more and more guards are getting injured. And even not so long ago, I reported on a story where someone drove straight through a checkpoint and directly at a guard before they were chased down by vehicles, and the person was taken from the car and arrested. Seems to be a more frequent experience for guards on Ireland's roads. So some interesting comments coming in off the back of this by the current head, Drew Harris. And I want to look at the story first and foremost and see what's actually being said here. So first of all, sorry to say that Garda Kevin Flatley was killed yesterday, and calls have been forthcoming from Harris for a real reset, he calls, on road safety after a Garda was killed trying to flag down a motorcyclist. Garda Commissioner Drew Harris said Kevin Flatley's death called for a real reset and rethink about our approach as a society to road safety. And that is the Garda in question there, Garda Kevin Flatley, who is now sadly deceased. So looking at the details and some of the statements that Harris has came out with here, he tried to flag down a motorcyclist while operating a traffic checkpoint in North County Dublin yesterday. He was using a speed gun at the side of the road when he detected the motorcyclist travelling at speed and tried to flag him down before he was struck and fatally injured. So it doesn't say if the motorbike left the road and hit him because he was at the side of the road, or if he stepped into the road to try and flag this speeder down and prevent him maybe hitting someone else and having a collision somewhere else down the road travelling at speed. Either way, the bike hit the guard. The guard is dead and the biker is in a serious condition now. Gardaí were alerted to the incident at Lanestown and Swords at 10 to 1 yesterday afternoon. Garda Flatley was discovered with fatal injuries and pronounced dead shortly afterwards. The driver of the Yamaha motorcycle, aged in his 30s, was also seriously injured, with bystanders administering CPR at the crash site. So that's the general background to what happened. Harris goes on to say, I acknowledge tougher sentences that have been put in place by the government, but we need a reset, a real reset, and rethink about our approach as a society to road safety. Well, of course, speeding, drink driving, drug driving, reckless driving has always been there and always will be there. And sadly, people will continue to lose their lives on Ireland's roads. Is this a problem that's getting worse? Is this a problem that is getting better with the government legislation? He goes on to list those things, obviously, that are contributing factors to people dying on the roads. But then he goes on to say, Harris said it was not an option to withdraw members of Gardaí from roadside speed detection duties. So, talking about withdrawing them completely, we have to keep our enforcement effort going, he said. I can't speak for how An Garda Síochána operate their vehicle speeding checkpoints, okay? But what I can say is up in the north, in Northern Ireland, under the PSNI, there are vehicles, usually, or vans, parked at the side of the road in strategic areas to target and clock speeders. In my experience, it's highly unusual that there would be someone trying to intervene with a speeder. Maybe if a vehicle flew past, the police vehicle in question might pull out and pursue. Or usually what will happen is they will simply log the speed and then post out a speeding notice to someone's house to say they have to go to a police station. It's to my knowledge highly unusual to hear of a member of the police, the PSNI up here, being hit by a vehicle unless it was driven directly at them or they were rammed or they were ram raided. But here he's talking about withdrawing members from roadside speed detection duties. What is the protocol? If a member of the guards possibly that's listening, or maybe someone that's aware of this, what is their policy? Do they have to stay off the road? Can they stand and try and flag down a vehicle that's coming towards them at speed? If so, is that not in and of itself a dangerous maneuver? I'm just asking the question. Then he goes on to say, I'm very wary or very shocked by this and don't want to get drawn into wider road safety debate. Drawn into a debate? There's a man dead. There's a guard dead. There's a biker in critical condition in hospital. I think it would be a good time to get drawn into wider road safety debate. But this is the hard edge of it. Then he goes on to say dangers faced by members of road policing is extraordinary. Then he goes on to say another Garda had been injured in a separate incident involving a motorbike yesterday. So what are the chances 2 guards hit by 2 bikers on the same day? This guy, almost unbelievably, this afternoon, we've had another Garda member had his leg broken, struck by a motorbike, and 1 arrest made. So 2 in 1 day. And then last weekend, another officer was seriously injured when he was hit by a van and had his leg badly broken. Then he goes on to say this is a regular occurrence where we're enforcing legislation. Regular occurrence, having your members repeatedly struck by either motorbikes or vans, having their legs broken, and in this case, this man died. If this is a regular occurrence, surely something should be done, Drew Harris, to not just protect members of An Garda Síochána, but also members of the public. If this is, in his words, a regular occurrence, where we're enforcing legislation, road traffic laws, but also the criminal law, and the dangers our members are facing, my members are facing, is extraordinary. So he's fully aware of this. So how come something hasn't been? Why is he using this as an opportunity to call for a reset? Tragic. But he said himself it's a regular occurrence. We have to rethink ourselves what more we need to do. And listen, he said Gardaí would learn lessons from the incident. What's he trying to say? Is this part of procedures that are maybe putting members of An Garda Síochána at risk? Is there no direct protocol to follow? I'm just asking. It's a strange thing for him to say. Gardaí would learn lessons. Emphasised the need to ensure the force was deploying the latest technology and equipment. I don't know that technology and equipment would have kept this poor man alive yesterday. Depending on whether the bike left the road and hit him or he stepped out and tried to flag it down to stop other people being injured. But technology and equipment can only go so far. Garda investment in high-vis vehicles in recent years, yeah, you would like to think that police vehicles would be highly visible. We want to see what is the cutting edge, leading edge in terms of technology or tactics that we will deploy. Yes, all that will be done. Why was it taking until 2025? Halfway through. I'd be surprised there's not lessons for us. We certainly want to make sure that we're at the cutting edge in terms of road safety for our members. Does that mean they're not at the minute? Making sure you're at the cutting edge, lessons to be learned for us. So, talking about a reset generally, educating people more about the dangers of speeding and don't drink, drive, wear your seatbelt, all common sense things that have been around forever. But then going on to say, we need to make sure we're cutting edge, as in the officers that he's responsible for, their safety. There is no option for us but to police the roads, and we intend to do so. We want to do so as safely as possible. So, interesting rhetoric coming from Drew Harris. Interesting. Are the guards well enough equipped to tackle speeding and drink driving, etc., on the roads of Ireland? Are they well enough trained in safety measures? This guard had a lot of experience. This gentleman that passed away yesterday had a lot of experience. Could more have been done? Harris has a lot to answer for, and as we know, he's stepping down later on this year, and maybe should do a story on who the replacement might be, because apparently they don't even need to have any policing experience. Yes, you heard that correct. The new head of An Garda Síochána does not even have to be a police person or have any experience in policing, period. They're throwing the net wide open. You wonder why the place is in the state that it's in at the minute. So let me know what your thoughts and opinions are below. I'm Rick Munn, No Risk, No Reward Media, over and out.